All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning back in. Sorry about that. We had like a technical meltdown there as the 10 o'clock show started. It took us a little bit, but we're back up fully functional. So that is some good news there. We still made it on the air, but obviously you guys lost our YouTube live. So we are back and fully operational. But we got a squall line. It is below severe limits. They just let that last severe thunderstorm warning expire here within the last few minutes. We'll see if we get maybe some new warnings added here within the next couple, just to see if these storms still maintain their course. Right now, we've got just a big squall line. There's a few persistent showers there north of Borger, up there by Stinnett. You guys have got a few maybe locally heavy downpours right now. Let's go and take a look outside at our sky cam there in Dumas, Texas. Does it look like you? Zoom in a little bit. There you go. So here's Dumas. We're looking at some of these storms rolling into the region. You can see again some low cloud cover. This is probably a lot of scud inside some of these thunderstorms. It looks like the outflow boundary is actually kicked out ahead of this already. Doesn't look like the camera is shaking around a whole lot, but we are seeing an outflow boundary set out across the panhandle this evening. So you can see there it is right there. Looks like it may have come through Dumas just now, or maybe is about to here over the next few minutes. Camera's not moving a lot, so it doesn't look like it's really strong straight line winds, at least not there in town. Could be a little bit further to the west where you have some of these higher values of, on the velocities. Let's go ahead and take a quick pixel query of some of this stuff. You got 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts being noted there. So probably, winds around 50 to 60 possible with that. This is going to move into the western side of Dumas here momentarily. So you've got this, stop this lapse real quick. You've got this big core of winds back here moving into the west side of Moore County. Again, these are moving in a south and east direction. Could be a glance blow for Dumas. Places like Four-Way, you guys are going to end up seeing this stuff push through here in the next half hour. Again, the camera is going to be pretty telling. Whenever we end up seeing this storm push through, you'll watch that camera start shaking a lot when that outflow boundary reaches the area. Got another cluster of storms out here in Oldham County. These are below severe limits for right now. We do have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 1 a.m., so still technically could see some severe weather between now and then. Hopefully all this stuff stays below severe limits and we can have kind of a quieter night tonight. Dumas, you guys are probably going to see some of these strong winds. I think at least the western half of town will. I'm not seeing that warning pop up over here. Okay. The severe thunderstorm warnings. Because yours are still active over here.
You think it's because you paused it?
No, because they're still active. So, like, they're not there. They are severe warned. Got the option turned on.
My computer is just
having a stroke today.
It's having a day.
So maybe we're not fully operational. We're like 95% operational.
I give it about 85%. I'm a little unimpressed with its performance.
All right. Well, I can at least mirror your screen, so I'm going to do that. So we're going to take a look at Josiah's computer. It's maybe a little bit more grainy, but you see that there are still some severe warned storms out there. They didn't let them expire. These are actually going to be in effect until, go ahead and click on the warning. Is it what, until 11:15? Yeah, 11:15 p.m. out there in Dumas. So he's got a squall track here placed on this thing, just giving you kind of an estimated time of arrival. So you've got Tascosa at 11:04, Vega 11:15, Everett 11:20. Here in Amarillo, it's going to be probably here in the next half hour to 40 minutes before these storms arrive. So we've probably got some quiet weather for mostly the rest of Friday, but as we move into Saturday, these storms are going to likely move into the region. Go ahead and zoom in on some of that stuff. We can get that clear off the squall track. There you go. So let's jump to velocities, SRV, and you can see, we'll just go ahead and pause it and do no laps. So you can see here, he's got this, oh, well, I guess I can't do that. Go ahead and circle. I got to remember I'm mirroring your screen, and I can't draw on it. It's all you. Yeah, circle those higher velocities in there, and maybe drop a pixel query just to give people an idea of some of these wind gusts. So you can see the wind's estimated to be around 60, 65 miles per hour. And so these are severe winds. There was an observed wind gust in Indy, New Mexico, out there just outside of the Texas Panhandle of 77 miles an hour with this whole line of storms. So certainly going to be some powerful winds coming through wherever you do see these higher velocity signatures showing up on the map. Let's go ahead and go down the line just a bit. You can see there's some higher reflectivity, or rather some higher velocities showing up there just to the west of Highway 385 between Boys Ranch and Vega, right there. So Josiah's got that circled for you. That storm, when is it warned until? It's probably the same time, 11:15, 11:30. And that one is warned for, let's see here, 60-mile-an-hour winds. The one up there in Dumas is warned for 70. And then out there in New Mexico, the winds are warned for 60 miles per hour. So you can kind of see that. You can jump over the FDX radar to get a better scan of this one. So you can see we've got some pretty high velocities showing up there near San Juan and Bard. Jump back over to reflectivity just to see what it looks like. So yeah, you've got kind of these pockets of cells, where you've got some strong winds. It may not be the entire line that's severe, but enough of it is. So they've just gone ahead and kind of covered that whole squall line with a severe thunderstorm warning. This one in effect until 10:15 p.m. So that one's got another 10 minutes on it before they'd make a decision on if they want to extend it or if they want to let it expire, but they'll probably extend it. So you can see the outflow boundary actually way south, about to come crashing through Cannon Air Force Base, House, New Mexico. You guys are going to start seeing this push through the area. It looks like it's coming through Vega right now too. That may be an area to watch for some additional thunderstorm development. Again, if this gets too far away from this complex, they're going to start to weaken, and they will probably start to lose a lot of their punch. As we get into the southeast panhandle, we do expect these storms to maybe persist and linger, but they may not be as severe as they are right now. So that may be a silver lining in this, is if you get down towards like Childress, Paducah, Silverton early in the morning, this complex probably going to be not fragmented completely, but you guys aren't expected to see quite as much heavy rainfall and some of that torrential downpours that we could be dealing with. So the high-res rapid refresh models got us seeing rain develop right around midnight to 1 a.m. here in Amarillo. So we probably got another hour to 90 minutes before this stuff translates to being over here in Amarillo. Is it moving 45? Okay. So this gives you a general idea. So that line of storms probably won't be in Amarillo 45 minutes from now. So the HRRR doing a decent job showing this between probably midnight and 1 o'clock for the Amarillo area. So Tascosa, 11:10. Addy, you guys are expected to see this stuff come through around 11:20, four-way 11:20, Masterson 11:21, Vega same time frame 11:21. We've got this extended now so that you can see it for Amarillo. Go ahead and right click that. See if you can't change that minimal rank at the bottom to like a 3. So now we've got some bigger towns in here, so it's not as big of a list. So Boys Ranch, this is coming through about right now. If you haven't seen the winds change direction yet, they will momentarily. Adrian, 11:09 p.m. for your expected time of arrival, which is here in a minute. And then Vega at 11:21. Bishop Hills, 11:44. Now we said probably around midnight or so for Amarillo, and that puts it right there at 11:53. So maybe just before midnight for downtown Amarillo specifically. The north side of town maybe 10 minutes sooner. South side of town probably 10 minutes after what you're seeing here on the list. Pantex could arrive around midnight tonight. You guys will probably start to see some of that lightning within lightning warnings within the next probably half hour if it isn't already. Joel, 12:03, Hereford, 12:04, Lake Tanglewood, around 12:06. Can we jump this out maybe another 20 minutes to get Canyon and Hereford added in here? Well, Hereford's in here, but Canyon's not. We were at like 90 minutes. Yeah. So you got Canyon here at 12:08. Groom, you guys will be right there around that 12:16 time frame. You're right there on the outer edge of this thing. Freon is probably going to be closer to about midnight for when the storms reach you. I will say one thing that the higher resolution models are suggesting is this may bow out here in the Amarillo area, but we may start seeing additional storms develop along the outflow boundary here in New Mexico and back into the southwest panhandle. That actually could lead to maybe some really localized high rain amounts out there. We're talking about Curry County, Palmer, Castro, back towards Oldham and Deaf Smith County. Some of those places, Bailey County, could be stuck in maybe some training thunderstorms through the overnight hours. I mean, all the way up until Saturday morning is probably going to still be raining. So don't be shocked if you see pockets of 3 to 4 inches of rain. Flooding is going to be that primary concern. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and show you.
We have a new flood advisory for Moore and Hartley counties.
For Moore and Hartley.
Yeah.
Okay. Did it populate on yours? Or not yet?
I am from.
No, it's there. It's just west of Dumas. So here, I'll show everyone real quick that before we jump in. So you can go ahead and zoom in on it. I'll get the details off of Slack. So that flood advisory there in Dumas is due to a ½ inch to an inch of rain that's already fallen, whereas another ½ inch to an inch and a half of rain could fall here over the area in the near future. So they're expecting that this is going to result in some minor flooding there. In between Hartley and Dumas, Highway 87 certainly could see some ponding on the road. Just make sure you're being careful. Again, obviously these storms are going to impact outdoor activities. You probably don't want to be outside as these come rolling through the area. Dumas, it looks like this stuff's starting to really kind of set in here right now in terms of the precipitation. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that camera just to see what it looks like. Looks a little blurry, but overall we've got probably some light to moderate rain out there. Really low cloud base. You can see again these clouds racing across the camera. Likely about to see some of those stronger winds as well with this stuff moving through. Zoom in and out.
Maybe there might be rain on the lens.
Yeah, it's still probably a little damp. Technology is great. I mean, 30 years ago you wouldn't have this ability, but
I think there might be some rain on the button.
All right, let's go ahead and jump back over to the outlook. So flooding is our biggest concern tonight. Aerial flood watch will be in effect until at least 1 a.m. I'm kind of leaning towards it maybe getting expanded in the southern row of counties, or at least a portion of those counties. Palmer, Castro, Swisher, while you guys aren't in an aerial flood watch right now, it's possible that that changes. We obviously don't make that decision. That's the National Weather Service. But with how things are trending, You guys may see some training thunderstorms through the overnight hours tonight. Would not be shocked if there's some spots in those counties that end up falling, end up seeing some rain, totals in that, 1 to 4 inch range. New warning coming out for Dumas. We have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 1 a.m. Central Daylight Time. That's going to cover the western half of the Texas Panhandle, and then all of eastern New Mexico runs until midnight tonight. So here's the outlook for today. We've got the slight risk. As these storms track further into the area, the temperatures start to cool off. Instability is going to begin to wane, but probably marginally enough for a severe storm or two. But looks like a lot of this stuff may become or may end up starting to fall below severe limits here in about 2 hours or so. And so we still have, 120 minutes before this stuff starts to weaken in intensity. Josiah's about to get us a pretty good view of these storms on when they come pushing through the area. And you probably just want to extend it and then change your default. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and go back over to share his screen so you guys can see what's happening over there on the warnings. So time of arrival, this is a new warning and a new update. You're probably going to start to get that warning on your phone if you live here in Amarillo in the next half hour or so. If you're north of town, you'll probably get it sooner. Right now, Amarillo's outside of the warned polygon, but that next update here in a half hour to 45 minutes, when they end up maybe issuing a new one, you'll probably start hearing your phone go off. Adrian, this stuff's moving through right now. Vega, 11:24 is the expected time of arrival, so that gives you about 10 minutes heads up before you start seeing some of that rain make its way through. Stinnett, 11:40 p.m. Lake Meredith at 11:42. Bishop Hills, it's 11:52 for the expected time of arrival there. Wonderland Park, up on the north side of town, is right at midnight here in downtown Amarillo at the station, expected to arrive around 12:02. And maybe we're a little bit later there in Canyon, closer to about 12:05 to 12:10, if this thing continues on the track of about 30 or about 45 miles per hour. But the severe thunderstorm warning is going to continue until midnight tonight. It is for mainly winds gusting to 60 miles per hour. Looks like the Dumas Mesonet just gusted to 59, so that would verify that warning there. The West Texas Mesonet site there in Bootleg and the Southwest Panhandle actually just gusted to 67 miles per hour. So we may watch them actually up the wind threat for this storm, this warning down here in the Southwest Panhandle. That's covering Vega and covering Adrian, places like that. That one's only in effect until 11:30, but we did just have an observed wind gust in Bootleg of 67 miles per hour. So it looks like the stronger cells are going to be down here closer to the state line between Texas and New Mexico. I'm going to pull up our camera in Clovis. Doesn't look like a whole lot's happening over there. We're going to turn this around so we can look to the north and east. So there's some faint lightning off in the distance. But this is kind of the western extent of that line of storms that we're looking at. You're going to see maybe some occasional lightning strikes here way off in the distance. These storms are still tens of miles away. And so it may be another couple hours before you end up seeing storms down there in the Clovis area. Let's go ahead and take a look at FDX. The outflow boundary is obviously going to get there sooner. Outflow is reaching into Cannon Air Force Base right now. House, you guys have seen that outflow boundary come through right now. Grady as well. Looks like Hereford and Friona, you guys will start to be next for getting that line of storms. Let's take a look at that Hereford camera, see what it looks like, because that one is looking in the right direction. You can see a lot of lightning there off in the distance. Really nice shelf cloud underneath this thing. Look at that. Hmm. So shelf clouds are a really good indicator of strong winds inside these storms. This storm has had a history of producing winds up to 67 miles per hour. So again, that one warned currently for 60-mile-an-hour winds, but does look like it's got a pretty good shelf on it. Yeah, it was a really good shot of it there, some of that lightning flashing, but that just basically means there's a lot of wind behind it, big wind bag. Can see a lot of heavy rain with it too, at least for a short duration. Where we see these storms, I mean, they've got pretty good forward motion to them. So some of our rain totals may be limited to probably just a half inch to an inch. But where we see some of these redevelop in the back and start to train over the same locations, we may start to talk about seeing some rain totals on that 2, 3, and 4 inch magnitude, which is a lot of water for us. Amarillo only gets around 20 inches of rain annually. If we get 2 to 4 inches of rain tonight, you're talking about 10 to 20% of our normal rainfall for the whole year. So this could be a big window of opportunity for us to pick up some additional rainfall. We're already ahead of schedule. A lot of the cities got anywhere from about 13 to 15 inches of rain so far. Our normal average this time of the year is a little past 10 inches. And so we're anywhere from 130 to about 150% above normal for our rainfall, or 30 to 50% above normal. So we're ahead of schedule, and it does look like this wet pattern is going to continue. These do continue to remain severe. It's weird. It's just the warnings that aren't working. Like the watches populate. It's just weird.
Technology at its finest.
At least we got the warnings crawling on the ticker down at the bottom. So they are going to continue that severe thunderstorm warning there in Oldham. So they put out a new warning. They upped the one there for the Dumas storm. So this one up here, they've actually upped the winds to 70 miles an hour. So this storm right in here, this is where your warning box is. Basically, if you fall within that polygon or kind of that circled region, they expect winds as high as 70 miles per hour. So this is going to be moving into the Amarillo area here in probably less than an hour. I would imagine probably 40 minutes or so, close to it, give or take 5 or 10 minutes, depending on which side of town you're on. Northwest side of town, obviously, we'll see impacts first. So you may want to start thinking about wrapping up those outdoor activities if you're out there on the town, or just, kind of on Polk Street, or enjoying some, festivities and activities outside. Then I would maybe start thinking about heading indoors. This is going to be a pretty linear line of storms. I don't think we're going to get mist here in Amarillo. We're at least going to get something from this, whether it be wind and just a little bit of rain, or whether it be wind and a lot of rain, depending on which of these cores of rain end up over the city. But everyone's going to get something. Some of us may end up with a quarter, to a half inch. Others may end up with 1 to 3 inches of rain. It's not going to be uniform.
Issue one for Palmer.
For the outflow boundary? Looks like
it hasn't been issued yet, but I would assume so because it's so far in front.
Yeah, jump over to your FDX radar. I'm going to share your screen since I don't see those populating here. So you can see that we've got a new warning down here in Palmer County. It's in the data feed. So 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that really is preemptive for the outflow boundary, because you can see that that's where it really starts and originates inside the polygon. So that's where you've got that initial burst of wind, is right there where you see that big line of light reflectivity. That's probably biological material. We're talking about midge flies, mosquitoes, just normal flies, things like that. If you were in here earlier this evening, we were talking about I was bit 3 times this morning by flies. And if you are a old wives' tale believer, then if you know the flies are biting, then it's probably going to rain. And looks like that's going to be the case this time around. Let's go ahead and jump back up to Amarillo, and we'll talk about that severe thunderstorm warning up there. So we're taking a look at the cell there in Moore County, coming into the north side of Potter County soon. This is likely going to impact Amarillo around midnight, give or take 10 minutes, depending on which side of town you live on. If you're on the north side of town, you're probably going to see the outflow boundary arrive before that, but you will probably see some rain set in around 11:50. So here in about 20 to 25 minutes. If you're on the southeast side of town, probably more like 45 minutes from now is when you'll start seeing some of these showers and thunderstorms impact the region. So you want to start wrapping up the outdoor activities. If you're outside, exposed to the elements, make sure you start preparing to find some shelter indoors. These are marginally severe storms. The biggest severe weather hazard with them is going to be the winds gusting as high as 70 miles an hour. We've had a few mesonet sites gust between 60 and 67 miles per hour here over the last 15 to 20 minutes.
Vega gusted to 57.
So that's Vega right in here. You can see us. So you see Josiah circling Vega there. So they just had a wind gust of 57 there on the outflow boundary. So
for the outflow, 60 mile an hour.
Yeah, so they're going to do a preemptive warning here for Amarillo for that next warning that you see populate. It's going to include the city. Probably going to get that warning on your phone here in just a moment. It's going to be for 60-mile-an-hour winds. These storms generally are moving southeast at 45 miles per hour. That the last time we put a time track on it for you, it was expected to reach the north side of Amarillo right around midnight tonight. I think it might be a little bit sooner than that, around 11:50 for the north side of town. It's going to be closer to about 12:10.
I'm going to try and stop it.
Yeah, so draw on that outflow boundary.
Oh, the outflow?
Yeah, because that's where you're going to see your initial burst of wind. And it's moving southeast at 45. So here's a general idea of what to expect for time-wise for when this stuff reaches us. It looks like it has picked up speed. So it's 11:51 now for downtown Amarillo. So probably more like 11:40 for the north side of town, more like 12 o'clock on the southeast side. So big line of storms, capable of 60-mile-per-hour winds. We've seen several mesonet sites pick up severe wind gusts here over the last half hour from it. So again, that just continues to show confidence that we are seeing severe storms. They are reaching severe capabilities. Wind is going to be your biggest issue. Haven't really heard of any hail reports with this stuff. It's going to be wind and rain. Oh, big wind bag, big squall line coming through, and it's producing some really high rain rates. Earlier this evening, we were seeing a rain rates on like a 2 to 6 inch per hour magnitude. It was pretty impressive how hard some of the rain's been coming down from some of these. But Indy, they picked up 3/10 of an inch of rain. Adrian, you guys so far have picked up a little under a 1/4 inch in the last hour. Places like Dalhart have already seen 7/10 of an inch of rain. So that's really where a lot of us probably will end up, isn't that like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall from this event, which isn't a crazy amount. That's about a week's worth of rain for us, maybe a little bit more than that on an average level. But there will be some pockets in here that pick up more than that.
At 35 now.
35, they got it slowing down. Drop down, squall 1. There you go. So they have slowed it down to 35 miles per hour in that new warning. Go ahead and scroll. Can you move the map over a little bit? Like, yeah, so we can see all of them. So here's your big line of storms. Again, the outflow boundary is here. It's about to come crashing into the Highway 60 corridor from Freona to Hereford and then back up towards Bushlands. That may actually be a good camera to use here in a second. Let's take a live view of top. And we'll turn it left.
Oh, that's a nice.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, that is a pretty nice shelf cloud. That's far enough. You can go back the other way. I just wanted to see how far that shelf extended. Tilt it up just a hair. There you go. All right, let's take a quick look at our Skycam in Bushlands. So it's kind of hard to make out here. You can see some of the striations in the shelf cloud. Let's take a better view of this from the show prep.
With each lightning, it kind of lights out.
Maybe come down just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Now we can see what's going on. So it's still kind of hard to tell, but there is a big shelf cloud on this thing. But it does not look like the wind's reached Bushland just yet. But there is a very large shelf cloud along this outflow boundary here.
Let me download this. Hold on. For people to get a better look at like timing and things of that nature. To like email to myself and then download to up.
Go to weather share. So whenever we did the story, the web story, go to save media disk.
Oh, okay.
So, but you gotta take a screen grab of it. Oh, I forgot this phone doesn't like to send stuff on. So got a pretty big shelf cloud coming through Amarillo here soon. You can see it really well, obviously, from the Skycam there in Hereford. Again, that shelf cloud's going to be right here on the outflow boundary, which is really right over Bushland. It's going to be coming across Hereford here momentarily. Canyon, you guys will get a view of this too as it's coming through. This is probably the best looking shelf cloud we've had all summer so far with this line of strong to severe storms. Basically the whole line for the most part is severe warned. So from the state line right here near Grading all the way up to Amarillo and then up towards Dumas. This basically right in here, that this whole section of this line of storms is severe, minus the stuff in New Mexico. You want to go grab a picture of it?
Oh, outside?
Yeah.
Oh, why not? If I can cut it right.
Yeah, you might want to get back in, huh?
That would be nice.
That's Josiah. He is our new forecaster for the weekend position. You'll actually see him debut his first show tomorrow on Saturday. So you guys haven't seen him on air yet. He's been around for about 2 weeks, actually a little less than 2 weeks. He's been here for 12 days. So has not been here very long, but we are excited to have him. He's from New York City, so he actually doesn't get to deal with severe weather like we do. So I think he's really excited to see some of the severe weather that we have to offer here in the high plains. I know that you guys maybe not so much. Obviously it causes some problems, but from a meteorological standpoint, this geographical region is second to none when it comes to severe weather. One of the best places you can get the experience. So that's what brings him here. So he's excited. Hopefully you guys will be kind and gracious to him. He again is not a local, so he's still learning some of these town names and the exact pronunciations of them. But we'll get him up to snuff here as soon as we can. Looks like Fritz, you guys are seeing a pretty heavy downpour right now. Right there on the leading edge. Looks like there's an outflow boundary about to being sent out from that storm as well. Again, these are severe thunderstorms that are warned for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. They are moving southeast at 35 miles an hour. They're going to go ahead and lower the winds to 60 for this whole line of storms, it seems. Looks like we've got a new lightning bolt developing there just near Bishop Hills. Here, we'll go ahead and put you a squall track on here. So this is your general guideline as to when these storms are expected to make it into the region. Let's go to 1. We'll go to 2. Close enough. So here's kind of a general guideline as to when you can expect these storms to make their way into your location or your area if they haven't already. So Vega, you guys should start to see some rain really right now with this. You've already seen the outflow come through. The outflow is coming through Bushland as we speak. Wonderland Park, expected time of arrival for the rainfall will be probably a little after midnight. The winds are going to get there several minutes before the rain will. Again, the outflow boundary is certainly Going to produce some strong winds in the range of that 55 to 65 range. ABC7 Amarillo, that's here in downtown, that's here at KVII, that's 1212. Hereford at 1213. White Deer, 1221 is your expected time of arrival. Timber Creek Canyon, 1228 a.m., excuse me. Lake Tanglewood, same time for you. Canyon, a little bit later at about 12:30 for when the rain is expected to arrive. This is going to be a pretty stout burst of wind initially, and then probably 15 to 20 minutes later, you're going to get some of that heavy, heavy rainfall. We will probably see some pockets in the panhandle pick up 1 to 3 inches of rain tonight. That is 5 to 15% of what we get over the course of an entire year. So this is, from a climatological standpoint, a fair bit of water for us. So that's why that aerial flood advisory, or that aerial flood watch, excuse me, is going to be in effect. All right, we got warnings back, y'all. So that is some good news there. Obviously, when we had to reboot the whole system, it was having some issues trying to find and requeue some stuff. So we got them in system again. So that is good there. We have got a pretty substantial shelf cloud coming through. So we do have that severe thunderstorm warning. It's in effect until 12:15 a.m. We are again approaching midnight tonight, and you can see that these storms are about to crash into the Amarillo area. Let's go ahead and zoom in just a bit so you can see where the outflow boundary is. It's coming through the northwest side of town right now. So we'll put a big line on it here, show you where it's at. So that's where that big shelf cloud's located. It's about to come through Hereford. Let's see what it looks like from the camera out there. Yeah, it's over our heads. Again, you can kind of see it right in there. So a little late to get it from there, but maybe we can watch it from Dimmitt. Oh yeah, big shelf cloud. There's not a lot of lightning out there on this thing. But yeah, your shelf cloud kind of extends all the way down here. Let's see if we can't kind of fill in this line from back into New Mexico. Clovis, this thing's about to head in y'all's direction. That's another area we can look at. Yeah, it's too close to the town and this community already. But really big shelf cloud on this thing as it's pushing through the area. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 12:15 a.m. We do have a pocket of heavy rain headed towards Amarillo. Looks like the north side of town's about to get walloped with some really heavy rain. You can see some new stuff developing there on the north side of town. Up there by our competitors, Old Channel 10, they've got some moderate rain starting to fill in up there. They're going to be in heavier stuff up there. Looks like Vega's kind of stuck in between cells. Again, rain's not uniform, so not everyone's going to get the same amount. There's going to be some pockets in here that miss some of the heavier precipitation, but there's going to be some other areas that probably pick up a half inch to an inch and a half of rain very quickly. Some very heavy rain there in Fritch, though. I mean, they are getting walloped at Fritch. They've had 3/4 of an inch of rain here within the last, half hour or so. And a lot of that really has only been in the last 15 to 20 minutes. Sounds like there was a semi blown over at the rest stop on 287 south of Dumas. Some pretty powerful wind to blow a semi over. So Sanford Fritch, CISD administration building is picking up a rain rate, instantaneous rain rate of at least 5 inches an hour. So that's right up in here. So you guys are seeing a rain rate of 5 to 6 inches per hour there in Fritch at the CISD administration building. That is some tremendous amounts of water coming down very quickly. There's a lot of static discharges ongoing out here too. So we're going to have a flash flood warning up here in Fritch where the instantaneous rain rates are between 5 and 6 inches per hour. So current rain total there in Sanford is a little over 3/4 of an inch of rain. They're still seeing an intense rain rate of 3.76 inches of rain per hour. It's starting to pick up there in Borger too. You guys may end up starting to fall into that heavy rain, and that stuff there in Borger is over at the is over at Borger ISD. You guys are seeing an instantaneous rain rate of 1.32 inches per hour. A lot of the stuff out here towards Boys Ranch, around a third of an inch an hour. You guys have already had 2/3 of an inch of rain. They've had about a third of an inch. I'm sorry, two tenths of an inch in Vega, seeing about a third of an inch of rain per hour for the rain rate down there. So we'll go ahead and show you again there. The Vega ISD building again. You can see the heavier rains in between y'all and Adrian for the moment. It's coming across Highway 385. So rain rates really picking up there at Krister Ranch. Just started raining here. So that's up there at the Canadian River. That's right here. They've got a rain rate of almost an inch per hour. Over at Leahy Creek, which is on the west side, you're seeing a rain rate of 2.64 inches per hour. So this is certainly some very heavy rainfall if you get caught in the core of some of these storms, which we certainly could see a portion of Amarillo caught in some of this, where you're talking about that 2 to 6 inch an hour rain rate. If we end up caught in this for an extended period of time, that could certainly cause some flood concerns. Again, that flash flood warning over there in Fritch, let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. That's in effect until 3 o'clock in the morning. They've had 1 to 2 inches of rain that's already fallen. They could see another 1 to 3 inches of rain here within the next hour. So that could lead to some flash flood concerns out there. Again, this is falling at a very high rate, and that storm seems to be mostly stationary, where you're going to see some of this pivot. These storms starting to pivot around this thing. Could be a lot of rain for you guys up there in basically that top corner of Carson and Potter County, and then back into Moore and Hutchinson County, right in that small corridor around Fritch and up there near Lake Meredith. You guys are seeing some intense rainfall, rain rates as high as 5 inches per hour being observed right now. A lot of these are in that 2 to 4 inch range. You guys you're approaching an inch of rain already there at Sanford Fritch CISD at the administration building. Borger ISD has had a little over 1/10 of an inch of rain, seeing an instantaneous rain rate of 1.66 inches per hour. Vega ISD seeing a rain rate of over an inch per hour. So it looks like you guys are finally starting to fall inside this heavier or more moderate band of rain. Still hasn't rained yet at River Road, at least not right now. The rain rate is 0, but you guys will start seeing this set in pretty soon. So the flood advisory for Potter and Oldham County has been extended until 2:15 a.m. I know we can't see that. We've got some higher priority warnings that are out there across the area. Um, Basically just stating that they've had a 1/2 inch to an inch of rain, another 1/2 inch to an inch of rain possible. That could lead to some flooding out there in some low-lying areas in those dry Aurora beds and some of the playa lakes. So here's our sky cam there in Dimmitt. We'll take a quick view at it here for just a quick second. Perfect timing. You can see that shelf cloud coming through and a couple of flashes of lightning. I mean, you can still kind of make out the striations even when there isn't lightning out there, so that's pretty wild. This is a heck of a shelf cloud coming through the panhandle this evening. That's a really good indicator that we have some strong winds with this. That's why this whole line of storms is warned for 60-mile-an-hour winds. There's going to be some pockets in here that pick up 1 to 3 inches of rain pretty quick. Again, some of those rain rates out there at some of the sites and the mesonettes around the region. Looks like the rain rate, instantaneous rain rate, is coming down there in the Fritch area. Your daily rain total has started over since it is now midnight, and you're still seeing a rain rate of over 2 inches per hour. 2 inches of rain per hour at Leahy Creek. Vega seeing a rain rate, instantaneous rain rate of over an inch per hour. And then Borger ISD seeing a rain rate close to 2 inches per hour right now. This is a seriously intense batch of rain coming through. It's got a really beautiful shelf cloud on it too. Again, this is a stellar looking storm. Again, shelf clouds are a good indicator that we've got strong winds with this. That shelf cloud is right on the outflow boundary. And so it's coming over Amarillo right now. If you're in Canyon, it's going to be right there over your head up to the northwest of you. Dimmitt, again, that's where we were just looking right now. It's getting pretty close to the camera from that view. Missed a really good lightning strike on there. See if we can't jump back and catch a few more. But beautiful storm. It's feisty and spicy. So just make sure that you guys are inside and indoors when it rolls through again. We did get a storm report of a semi being overturned there south of Dumas at one of the truck stops. So you've got some really strong winds. Obviously, with that storm producing winds of that magnitude, that's gonna cause a lot of problems. Oh, it's frozen. You can kind of see the shelf cloud there. Hopefully, it would unfreeze, but
Shelf cloud is so defined.
it's a good looking shelf cloud.
Oh, I'm so wink whipped right now.
Is it windy out there?
Yeah, literally as soon as the shelf cloud got right over my head. It's in the latest video.
Oh,
I
did
mean,
you send another one?
yeah, my last one, a burst of cold air just hit me. I was like,
That rain
whoa.
cooled air, yeah. Waiting to see some lightning.
There's some flashes in the background, but this one's almost like 2 minutes. It's just yapping. Oh, you call them?
Yeah.
I've never seen such beauty.
And
I'm
just to think, this is a marginally severe storm. This isn't even a supercell.
Send me out into the middle of the fields. Like that's exactly how I feel. I have yet to fully recover. I like went live on Instagram. I tried to do it on my own page. Then Instagram was like, no, you can't do it from this account. So I ended up doing it from my main page and then tagging my account because I'm like, people need to see what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I told you, severe weather up here is second to none.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're seeing some rain rates, y'all, anywhere from 1 to about 3 to 4 inches per hour with some of these storms. Starting to rain on the north side.
Oh, let me check mine. What's going on at home?
So if you're up there near River Road, you're probably starting to see a few sprinkles. Again, doesn't look like it's heavy rain right now. You're definitely dealing with some of the wind. The outflow boundary has come through most of the city. Lake Tanglewood, a canyon, you guys are about to see it push through here momentarily within the next couple of minutes. But we're seeing again a nice batch of rain fill in across this thing. You're going to see some pretty high rain rates out of this. Looking at some of the observation stations out there, Bushland is seeing rain rates of 9 tenths per hour. We take a look out there in Bushland, you can see what that looks like.
Yeah,
So that's about an inch per hour rain rate. That's visually what 1 inch per hour of rain looks like on the camera. So you can still see, a couple of miles off in the distance. When you start getting to, having visibility of just 100 feet or so, or a couple 100 feet, that's when you're talking about that 4, 5, and 6 inches per hour. That's really not what we need, but it is still possible. A lot of this stuff's going to be kind of been in that 1 to 3 inch rain per hour rates. So still very high, anomalously high even for us this time of the year. They've gone ahead and expanded that flash flood warning up there for Borger. You guys have now been included in that as well.
did they send a
So
thunderstorm watch?
no, it's until
No,
1.
no. So
Not at the moment. Yeah, that's Dimmet right there. See that big shelf cloud moving through.
It's gonna be. Oh, that's the shelf cloud. Oh yeah, I know. I'm looking
Fritch
for.
has had 1.25 inches of rain so far. You guys are in a flash flood warning there until 3 a.m., until 3:15 for Sanford, Borger, Oil City, Electric City. Really kind of like that Cremois area. The western half of Borger is under a flash flood warning. Until 3:15 a.m. So this is Fridge Highway. You can see there's that shelf cloud right there. Wow, that's a beautiful shelf cloud.
It was.
And then you can see again all of that heavy rain out there behind it. This is again going to produce rain rates as high as 3 to 4 inches per hour. At least that's what we've been observing off of most of the observation sites that we've got access to. So you can see some scud underneath it. Again, there's real no rotation in this storm. It's all outflow driven winds. It's going to be a big wind bag and a lot of rain behind it. Starting to see some rain there in Wonderland Park. Looks like it's finally starting to reach kind of the Highway 87 corridor on the northern half of town. If you're just east of the highway, it's looking like it's probably just sprinkles at this point. A couple of CGs there, some negative cloud to ground lightning strikes. But you can see again, it looks like the strongest batch of wind really is actually just out here underneath some of these storms there on the lake. Right in here, getting a pretty high signature of some really strong winds. Let's take a quick sample of that. Yeah, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds being observed. That is about 900 feet off the ground. So that's pretty close to the surface, you know, from a meteorological standpoint. So they've gone ahead and warned that one too. It looks like they saw what we saw. National Weather Service has warned it for 60 mile per hour winds as that storm moves southeast at 35 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and put you a timer on here. This stuff seems to be getting here a little bit after what we said. Again, we said about 12:10 for downtown. I haven't seen any rainfall yet. Our evaporative transpiration number's 0.24, by the way.
Well, it went up.
So we were a little low.
Well, we tried.
Still seeing a rain rate of over 2 inches an hour over in Fritch, where you guys are under that flash flood warning until 3 a.m. So 3:15 for Borger. Seeing a rain rate around 8/10 of an inch per hour. Hereford looks like a heavy rain there falling now. 1.21 inches of rain per hour. We've had about 1.5 inches of rain in Fritch so far. Looks like you're about halfway through it. So that may be one of those pockets where we get 3 inches of rain tonight. Dalhart's had 8/10 of an inch of rain. A lot of this stuff behind the line has really only picked up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. There's some spots there closer to an inch, which is where most of us will likely end up. but there's some spots where you do have some initial downpours. You maybe get that quick inch of rain before the line got there. That's where you're seeing some of those much higher totals where you really have that flood threat maximized on a localized level. So this is over in Highland Park. You can see the shelf cloud about to come through right now. Well, that's not current, but
Thermal rate? Where's that thing positioned? Because
it's not. It's just a few miles away.
oh, I thought it was right on top of us.
Oh, on us?
Yeah, the
But if you stepped outside, it would look like that.
oh, it definitely is.
It's probably sprinkling out there already.
Oh, my car is getting washed. I love that. It needs it so bad. It's so dusty. Just can't win.
So we've got a pretty good line of storms coming through. This is what you would call an MCS, mesoscale convective system. You can call it an MCC as well, mesoscale convective complex. You just got a big batch of thunderstorms all clustered together, working as a team to create that big shelf cloud, set down that big outflow boundary. And we're seeing some light to moderate rain here across the city. The northwest side of town is probably seeing some moderate to heavy rain right now. Back up towards Bishop Hills, you guys are seeing some pretty heavy rain. You're getting close to 2 inches of rain there in Fritch. Rain right there in Sleepy Hollow is about a half inch per hour. It's about a third of an inch per hour at River Road, ISD. Rain instantaneous rain rate in Fritch right now is 3.5 inches an hour. So that right in here, this is where you're talking about 3 to 4 inch rain rates, where you're seeing that pink show up on the map. It's coming down insanely fast up there. They have seen over an inch and a half of rain here within the last hour. They are likely going to see probably 2 to 3 inches of rain here over a 60-minute period, which is why they have that flash flood warning in effect until 3 a.m. Now, a lot of our winds seem to have calmed down. We've got a wind gust of 48 there in Umbarger. It looks like Hereford only gusted to 43 with the outflow. Freona gusted to 56, so they're getting some pretty stout wind gusts there on the southwestern edge of this. Bootleg didn't have that strong of a wind gust so far this morning. Theirs was Friday. So you can see they've carried that severe thunderstorm warning down until 1 a.m. for Palmer and Castro County.
What did mine say?
Warning. That's this one. 1 to 2 inches of rainfall and 1 to 2 more possible within the next hour. So as much as 4 inches of rain from the event. Looks like a lot of the winds are starting to decrease with this stuff. So it looks like wind gusts at a 56 there in Friona. Let's go ahead and take a look at your infrared satellite imagery, y'all. We are going to take a look at this to kind of see what these cloud top heights are doing within this storm. Um, So you can see here's our big MCS on infrared satellite imagery. You can see that we've got, again, rain really just kind of, not rain, but the storm itself, the cooler cloud tops seem to be warming actually on the southern extension of this stuff. So we may actually watch this thing fall below severe limits soon, at least down there in Palmer and Castro County. Now, some moderate to heavy rain still possible with some of that stuff. Still looks like there's a pretty decent cool air aloft on the southern side of Moore County. And so that's in conjunction with the northern half of this storm. So that complex from really like Amarillo up to Fritch and Borger, that probably is still severe with the cool cloud top heights that we have up there. But for the most part, it looks like those cloud top heights are going to start warming there as you get further south down this line. So they may actually let this warning down here expire early down in Palmer and Castro County, should we continue to see that trend. So that's one thing to watch. But for now, it looks like at least the only area where the cloud tops are really cold, which would be indicative of a really strong updraft, still upwelling, some heavy rain, and probably some downburst winds there. In portions of Potter, Carson, Hutchinson, and Moore County is really where a bulk of this is going to be here. Rain rate still continues to hold above 2 inches an hour there in Fritch, which is really getting hammered with the rain. I mean, they've had another eighth of an inch of rain since midnight tonight. So, I mean, you're talking about 2.5 inches of rain per hour, based off of a 20-minute average, which is pretty intense. So they've dropped the severe thunderstorm watch in parts of New Mexico. Looks like they let it go in Union County. Starting to see some redevelopment out there though, and that's I think what the herd was trying to pick up on earlier.
Almost 2/10.
That's our rain rate. Our rain rate's 2/10 of an inch an hour. It's coming up pretty quick. You can see it's 0.31 now.
Already?
Yeah. It's probably going to spike. I mean, you can see, so there's heavy rain from Wonderland Park south down towards basically the interstate. So basically where you get off on River Road on the north side of town to I-40.
I didn't know about all these places.
Rain rate's still 0.31 per hour. We'll see if it picks up here in the next 5-10 minutes as this stuff gets a little bit closer to downtown Amarillo.
Size tail, French.
Quarter-sized tail reported in Fritch. So they just issued a special weather statement for this stuff down here. So Canyon, Buffalo Lake residents, this is going to be strong but not severe for those storms down there. So Amarillo's gonna go ahead and let this stuff ride without a warning, at least on the south side of west side of Randall County and the east side of Deaf Smith County.
This one's special.
That's well, Dumas got jumped to the bottom. I'm not sure why. Click on it. So it's there.
It's blind. Maybe I can
I don't think that's going to help that much.
How do the streets look like that? Is that just wet?
Yeah, it's just wet.
It was hail or something on the street. I was like, huh?
No, it'll look like snow if there's hail there.
And then this one is Dumas.
You were just on Dumas.
So
That's Bushland.
This is Bushland. Bushland. It's there.
They're in between heavy rain bands.
Perfect. I'm gonna look toward here. Oh. So maybe I need to look that way. Which way is Amarillo on here? Is that this way?
Mm-hmm. Rain rate's around 3/4 of an inch an hour on the north side of town right now with some of these thunderstorms up there at River Road ISD. So that's actually north of the loop. Fritch is still seeing a rain rate over 2 inches an hour. Pantex is seeing a rain rate of almost 2 inches an hour. Right here. right near St. Francis. Basically right on the edge of, there's a rain rate right here at 2 inches an hour. Right off of St. Francis Avenue and Highway 60. So right on the edge of the Pantex facility. Rain rate continues to be light for us here at the station, only a 1/4 inch per hour.
I guess those 3 bites really meant something, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you, the flies know what's up. They know what's up. Never fails.
Some good,
They,
good watering.
mm-hmm,
Quite happy. Your plants?
they'll be okay. Probably should have put some fertilizer out on the tomatoes. I was scared that it was going to be like a gully washer though. And you don't need the fertilizer washing out if you aren't going to blend it into the soil.
I guess it's.
I ran out of time doing stuff this morning though.
So did I. I mean, I woke up late already. I woke up at like 9:30, 10. I was like, oh my God, take off.
Hudson wouldn't allow that.
No, today.
He was demanding food at about 7:45 this morning.
I don't know if I should get my coffee.
What do you think, chat? Coffee or no?
I don't know. The way that they've been going for it, they've been letting the severe thunderstorm warnings expire, but I don't know about that northern side though.
If you look at the if you look at the infrared satellite imagery, you can see it's pretty cool up there on this northern cell. Like this small section here is probably severe. The rest of this has got warming cloud tops from like Amarillo south and west. All of this is slowly warming up. So this is where we've got some strong updrafts still ongoing. That I would be shocked if they extend this past one.
See that small rotation there? Little
Yeah, that's the MCV starting to take shape.
of that.
So you'll probably see this just stratiform band of rain fill in behind it. I mean, you can kind of already see it there over in Oldham and Hartley County.
Yeah, but then there's this random resurgence. Did Albuquerque say anything about it?
I mean, that almost looks like a false echo. That's pretty wild. It's not, you know, I mean, it would be in line with the radar beam, and it's not. What does it look like from FDX's radar? See, that looks more real.
That looks more real because it comes from FDX's radar.
Yeah, it's closer, and you can see there's another round of storms going up back here. Back towards Naravisa, north of Logan, headed towards Amistad and Sedan.
Yeah, only 3/10 of an inch.
That's the rain rate. You can go change that and see what the actual total is if you want.
I mean, we went from 2/10 to 3/10, but that's an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been 30 minutes, so it's almost an inch now.
It's picking up now. You can kind of hear it on the roof now. No, like the hum, like the low hum. Like, sounds like the HVAC system, but it's not.
What I hear is running water.
Yeah, there's that too. It's hitting the drainage system, and
You see that? Oh, yeah.
rain rate's starting to spike. We're at 1.4 per hour.
It's raining cats and dogs. All right, back down, 29.
Pantex just had a wind gust of 63 miles an hour, so they'll probably continue this morning.
Rain day. Is that button?
Yeah, we haven't even had a tenth of an inch.
That doesn't make sense. That's right here.
Moderate rain.
Only a 900ths of an inch.
Since midnight. We may have had a little bit before midnight, I don't know.
That's all. Oh, but the rain came around midnight. Didn't come before.
Well, we haven't been in the heaviest stuff. It's been to our north. It's been between us and the boulevard.
Wow.
The boulevard's probably getting
Finally.
hammered.
Finally. Oh, I gotta switch it back.
Wow, Pantex just gusted to 81 miles per hour.
Hey. Whew. 81?
81 miles an hour, y'all. That's a pretty strong wind gust. That's enough to overturn semis. They're also seeing a rain rate of 4 inches an hour out there. So this is the worst of it right here. You can see where the pinks are showing up. I mean, they're getting hammered by some really heavy rain.
Hear all that rain just rushing.
Rainfall intensity there at Pantex is 4.11 inches of rain an hour.
Never get the good stuff.
He's already learning, y'all.
Told you it's the umbrella dome.
You can't blame it on Pantex today. The High Plains Retreat Center in Canyon is seeing a rain rate of 2.24 inches per hour. Southwest Amarillo's really missed all that heavier rainfall. You guys are going to end up on the slimmer side for rain totals. But you're seeing a rain rate of over 2 inches an hour here at the High Plains Retreat Center, just west of Canyon, north of Highway 60.
Yeah.
Instantaneous rain rate has just spiked to past 6 inches per hour.
That must be this.
That's up at Pantex. Yeah, it's right in here. You use your other radar. You're using FDX, I think.
Washing machine.
Yeah, you can see that pink splotch right on the southwest side of the Pantex site. That's where they're seeing 6 inches of rain an hour. Back down to 5 inches per hour for the rain rate there at Pantex. And we're starting to see some convection out there again. So you can see there's some tiny splotches out here where it's picking up probably some static discharge. We might still get some rumbles of thunder out here. You see some strikes there. So you can see here the mapping array is picking up on this cell here. So this has probably got some convection in it. It's got some more south around here. So you may see some additional development down here further into Quay County. And it's starting to pick up on some of that stuff up near Elkhart too.
It literally sounds like it's about to rain on us.
2 inches per hour is our current rain rate here at the station. We're now up to almost a 1/4 inch of rain. So it just started. So we probably aren't dealing with any flooding issues. If this continues for 30 to 40 minutes, we will be having some flooding concerns.
Like here.
Fritch has had over 2.2 inches of rain so far. That's my garden.
Look at the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see it.
But you pulled out all the onions?
Yeah, they were done growing. Those got planted in
Red warning? More County? That's still this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for Fridge.
We're at a 1/4 inch of rain now. Again, this is kind of a fragmenting line. You've got some, stratiform rain behind it. So, I mean, it's probably going to just lightly rain at least through the next hour or so. The worst of this stuff looks like it is starting to diminish. About the only area that's probably still severe in terms of its winds is going to be this stuff up here by Panhandle. Headed towards Panhandle, White Deer, Groom. That's going to be where you're seeing some of those really strong wind gusts.
Yeah, Pantex is still seeing gusts 65,
66,
69.
South Southwest Panhandle is probably starting to see some of those strong winds. Western half of Carson County, western 2/3 of Carson County, seeing some strong winds. They are going to be severe. A lot of the mesonet sites out there at Pantex is starting to gust between 60 and 70 miles an hour. That's with this cluster of storms out here between Amarillo and Panhandle. So these are severe. You can see it's starting to bow out. It's got that bowing feature, so that's another good sign that this thing's. And you can see the outflow boundary actually surging way out ahead of this thing too.
Good night.
Hmm.
Good night.
Oh yeah, yeah. You should read about him.
It looks like I should be worried. Born in Illinois,
Hmm.
died in Arizona. Long way from home, buddy.
That's who that's named after. Still seeing an instantaneous rain rate around 4 inches an hour out there at Pantex. They have had an inch of rain since midnight.
Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, he's important out here.
Any children?
Finally looks like Fritch is on the backside of these storms. They're seeing the rain rate come down now, down to about a half inch an hour. You've had 1.21 inches of rain since midnight. The total rainfall for you guys has been a little over 2.2 inches of rain, so about 2.25 or so.
Are they back on air? Is that a rerun? Yeah, they're about to slow down this rain.
I'm not sure. I would imagine it's a rerun. I don't think they've got a show this late at night. So the southern half of Amarillo really hasn't seen much rainfall. Northern half has. Ooh, probably need to turn off my pencil. Canyon, you guys are in the heart of a thunderstorm right now, seeing some moderate to heavy rain. That's that one that was producing some high rain rates there. The High Plains Retreat Center, they had a half inch of rain pretty quick. So they've gone ahead and trimmed this warning down here in Palmer County just to account for where the stronger cells are at. Let's take a look at Dimmitt. Again, these storms are about to make their way towards Dimmitt here if they haven't already. Yeah, it looks like it's already raining out there. Kind of light. They're likely stuck in between those two heavier thunderstorms. So you got some heavy rain there between you and Tam Ann, and then another pretty heavy thunderstorm there between Jumbo and Arnie, moving down towards Nazareth and Lakeview. See how much rain Dalhart's seen. They're at .9 up there in Dalhart. Probably about done with the rain up there. Romero picked up about 6/10 of an inch, still kind of lightly raining. You can see we've got this other cluster of cells pulsing up. See, I told you there was a storm there further south going up. See, it's real faint. I mean, they're not picking up a lot of static discharges out there, but there are some. Just needed all to fall below severe limits. Looks like Palmer County's been taken out of the warning here as of recent. That last update, so just the warning continuing until 1 a.m. there in Castro County. And then we also have the warning until 1 a.m. up here for mainly Carson County, but probably the northern sides of Armstrong County could also be dealing with some of these really strong erratic wind gusts. Still seeing a rain rate over 1.5 inches an hour out there at Pantex. They have seen what looks to be about 1.2 inches since midnight. So they've sustained a pretty high rain rate for a while. We have only seen 3/10 of an inch here at the station in downtown. Sleepy Hollow has only picked up 19/100 of an inch of rain. Randall High School only picking up 5/100 of an inch of rain. Abernathy Fence has picked up 6/100 of an inch of rain. It's down here. But they just saw that thunderstorm happen. They've got a rain rate of 2.32 inches an hour, so heavy, heavy rain. 1.13 now is what it's come down to. Still pretty heavy. Deer Ridge at .08 up down there in Lake Tanglewood and Timber Creek Canyon. Borger's had 2/3 of an inch since midnight. You want to take over real quick?
Sure.
Talk about some rain.
Let's talk about some rain. Ooh. Good evening, everyone. Josiah in. Gonna relieve Corbin for a little bit. We still do have some severe warned storms in the area. The ones most notable are going to be this one over covering parts of Carson County as well as eastern portions of Potter County. But for the most part, as that storm continues to progress, we expect that severe demarcation to subside or be trimmed off a bit. But right now, we have been seeing a lot of convection as we take a look here in terms of the lightning. We've seen a lot of lightning strikes in the last couple of minutes or so as these storms continue to shift further east and south of Amarillo. But overall, we do see this line here, which is going to be your outflow boundary that you can kind of make out here coming right about here. And not too long ago, I was outside. And for me, when I was out there for downtown Amarillo, as soon as that outflow boundary made its way right over my head, you felt the gust of wind, a cool gust of wind making the way. That's going to be the rain cooled air that is being pushed down from the atmosphere down onto the ground. And that's what you feel associated with that outflow boundary. But it also is going to be the boundary that is holding back some of the gusty winds associated with some of these storms as well. Now, in terms of what we expect over the next couple of minutes or so with these storms, they're moving anywhere between 35 to 40 miles an hour or so. So let's see what that looks like in terms of who can expect what and when. So let's pause this here. Let's take this marker and we'll take a moment here and well, first off, let's clear it. And then we'll take this and we'll just draw out the outflow boundary just for some people to really get to see when they can expect some of those storms, the winds associated with some of those storms to make their way to their area. All right, and let's continue to work on this. Boom. All right, so over the next hour or so, some of the most notable areas that could be impacted with some of this rain and this line of storms. Groom, it looks like around 1:05 a.m. You should expect that outflow boundary to make its way to your area. That's gonna, again, where you're gonna feel those gusty winds soon pick up as that outflow boundary and that shelf cloud make its way through the area. But behind that is gonna be where the heavy rain it's making its way to the area. And as the night progressed, and as we have been talking about throughout today, as we get into the evening hours, a lot of these storms are losing some of their daytime heating. So, although a lot of them still remain severe, they're over time they are losing some of that severity associated with them. Now, let's look at our forecast in terms of what we can expect in terms of the next couple of hours or so as these storms continue to traverse south and east.
You got to load it in. Unless
Oh.
if you want, go back. Here, just give me a second.
Oh no,
I'll
it's not
load
that
in.
serious. It's okay. I can chat a bit. Let's also take a look down here in Castro County, there in Dimmitt. We are seeing some moderate to heavy rainfall falling there in Dimmitt, but it's going to be a bit further east, sandwiched between Dimmitt and Nazareth, where you're going to see some of the heaviest rain falling there in that purple color there, indicating some of the heaviest bands of rain or rainfall rates there falling in between, again, Dimmitt and Nazareth, just along what looks like to be Highway 86 or so. That's where you're going to see the heaviest bands of rain setting up again between Dimmitt and Nazareth in this severe thunderstorm warning lasting until 1 a.m. Central Daylight Time there in Castro County as well. And again, the story has been this outflow boundary. As the night has progressed, it's inched farther and farther and farther away from some of these storms. So that can help these storms begin to deteriorate, especially if that outflow boundary continues to get farther from these storms. But as of now, we do have a couple of areas of severe thunderstorm warning. And in fact, we have one here in Armstrong County that's gone on to last until 2 a.m. Central Time here. And that's going to be in advance and mainly due to the winds. Again, as that outflow boundary makes its way further south and east, that's where you're going to see the winds begin to pick up. And that's probably why we have this severe thunderstorm warning there listed for Armstrong County, Donley, Gray, as well as Carson County as well, lasting until 2 a.m. mainly due to that outflow boundary. But again, right behind that outflow boundary, not too far away, is going to be some of the heaviest rain that we've seen with this line of storms so far.
Yeah, 70-mile-an-hour winds that morning.
70-mile-an-hour winds, in fact, for this new thunderstorm warning posted, again, for those counties I had listed earlier:
Yeah.
Armstrong, Donley, Gray, and Carson as well.
Yeah, and the big reason why they've set it up for 70-mile-an-hour winds is they had a lot of wind gust measurements observed at Pantex between 65 and 70. So there was a wind gust measured at 69 miles an hour over there on Pantex's site on the southeast side of the facility, and then on the southwest side they had a wind gust of 65 miles per hour. And they actually had this occur numerous times, and so that's why they went ahead with that warning, just because they've got that ground truth observation.
Yeah, and that's the wonders of the National Weather Service. They try to do the best they can, especially when we're getting reports such as that. So again, for that new severe thunderstorm warning, there for those few counties, it's going to be demarcated because of 70-mile-an-hour winds, up to 70-mile-an-hour winds. That's going to be mainly reserved for some of the strongest parts of this line of storms that it's making its way further south and east as the night has progressed through the southeastern panhandle, currently cutting its way right now through parts of Carson County. Right now, we are seeing some of those reds and oranges indicating heavier bands of rain as these storms move through. In fact, we still do have a flash flood warning. I do want to take some time out for parts of Hutchinson County as well as Carson County, mainly because areas around this area, including Fritch, had incredible amounts of rainfall in a short amount of time. So you might see your creeks in areas nearby here. You might see those start to swell as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Lake Meredith later on sees a spike in terms of lake levels, water levels over the next couple of days or so as that water begins to make its way and run off into the lake and nearby streams later on. But behind this line of storms, we still have rain behind it. It's not severe, but it is anywhere between moderate to light rain that we're seeing on the backside of the front end of these severe storms, going all the way back here to Hartley County, where we still, in fact, do have that severe thunderstorm watch, which does expire in about a minute or so. Um, we do expect that probably to expire unless they do decide to extend it, but I doubt that they will, only because the main bulk of the severe weather has shifted further south and east over the night. But we still do have a area flood watch in effect again until 1 a.m. So that may expire. We'll see what they do with that as well. But overall, the main threats right now have been the winds as well as the heavy downpours and rain that we've seen with some of these storms as well. Let's take a look here.
I'm gonna go ahead and star your Lubbock stuff.
Oh, that works. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tonight we've taken a look at velocity just to see if there were any rotations with some of these storms. But as the night has progressed, you see a lot of these reds. That's indicating winds moving away from the radar. And as you can see here, we're seeing some bright colored reds here, probably indicating some heavy or strong winds there. But overall, you're not seeing the interaction between the red and the greens. That's where you're going to see winds coming toward the radar, which is going to be the green color, and then the reds indicating winds going away. You're not seeing much interaction in terms of any close reds and greens coming together here. Mainly, you're seeing, especially with the severe thunderstorms here, you're seeing
Can
much of that going away from the radar.
can you go back to the reflectivity just really quick? I just want to see where. So you actually, it looks like there's a microburst happening right now on the just south of the airport. So right there south of Pullman. So if you jump back over to your velocities, you can actually see where you've got those reds heading away and then those greens heading to the radar. So that's all heading south, but this stuff's heading north. So there's a microburst that just occurred there on the northeast side of Randall County, right there just south of the airport. And so that's a really cool feature on the radar that you can see there.
Thank you for that. I wouldn't have caught that. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Again, and that's probably why we still have some of these severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for this evening. Again, we still have one that's going to be listed all the way out until 2 a.m. And it's the last one actually standing here on the map, and that's covering parts of Carson, Gray, Donley, and Armstrong County. Again, mainly due to the winds gusting up to 70 miles an hour. We have seen reports near that wind speed, so the National Weather Service has upped it again. We've seen it anywhere between 60 to 70 miles an hour throughout the night. But again, if you are anywhere in those counties, especially over the next couple of minutes, you might want to start seeking shelter if you're not already inside. I hope you are, especially this time of the night. If you aren't, I would pull over, especially if you're driving along I-40, major interstate here. You might be dealing with some difficult driving conditions, especially if you're going anywhere from Groon all the way to Amarillo. You might run into those heavy downpours along I-40, making it difficult to see. So if you are on the roads, I would definitely take some time out, slow down, pull over to the side, put on your hazards if you can, if you're on the roads, because it can be difficult to see, especially without any daylight and how hard the rain is coming down as well.
Yeah, I'll even add to that microburst that the winds are perpendicular to I-40. So if it's got some extreme wind gusts with it, that would be a risk to high profile vehicles there on the highway. 287. It looks like it is south of 287. So back down there, kind of well west of Claude. It's just outside of the loop in Amarillo, but you're seeing some winds heading north and south where you're seeing that radar feature show up there where you've got winds heading to the radar and away. So I would just keep that in mind if you're on some east to westbound roads, especially in a high profile vehicle. That could cause you some problems. They're on the east side of Randall County there, northeast of Lake Tanglewood.
As we know, um, oh my goodness, totally having a brain fart here. But some of these downbursts can be just as dangerous as tornadoes, especially in terms of wind, because what's happening here is you're having these winds, which are aloft in the atmosphere, come straight down and disperse straight to the ground. And a lot of it is rain cooled air, but it's all coming straight down and it gets spread out. And that's how you can end up with damage. But in this case, as Corbin was talking about, especially along I-40 or any roads that are going perpendicular to that, especially if you're in a high profile vehicle, that can be an issue in terms of knocking them over or having some difficulty, especially if they are on the roadway as that microburst is happening or around that time. But definitely something to look out for over the next couple of minutes or so as that storm continues to shift further south and east. And again, we still have some convection, some lightning strikes popping up here.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing some redevelopment across the south side of the city too. And it will eventually fall on the stratiform rain, which the rain rate will start to decrease. But so we've had almost a half inch here at the station.
And half-inch of rain. That's some good old rain, especially if any of you guys are in your growing season. Oh my goodness. Or planting anything, some nice rain. Um, but overall, we are slightly above average in terms of where we should be rainfall wise for this time of year. I am a transplant coming from New York, so it is a big change for me. But it's not supposed to be this rainy here, as I've heard. So
Yeah, no, we're teaching them all the tricks of the trade. Wheat growers probably are not super happy about this rainfall if they haven't gotten their crop out of the field yet, because this can lead to some fungal growth, and it can lead to sprouting seeds there in the heads of the wheat. So they're probably not happy about it, but it's a facet of life here in the High Plains. This is our monsoon season. It's not uncommon for us to have storms, pretty consistently through the summer months. But yeah, rain. I mean, we only get about 20 inches of rain a year here in Amarillo, and we, for the most part, are anywhere from like 13 to 15 inches before today happens. So we're 30 to 50% ahead of normal, or ahead of schedule, I should say. And that doesn't look like it's going to end tonight. Doesn't look like it's going to end heading into next week. The next 6 to 10 days look to be wetter than average for us. It may not be exceptionally wet, but it is going to be probably wetter than normal, which normal for us is like a half inch a week. So if we get an inch of rain tonight, another inch of rain next week, we're still well on our way to being above average.
That's wow. I mean, that's kind of crazy, but I think when we talk about what's causing all of this, the
Hmm.
air pattern that we're having, the air mass pattern, but overall right now, the atmosphere is very juicy, for
Yeah,
the lack of a better term. I mean, our PWAT values, as you said earlier, were anywhere is
they
about
were,
an inch and a half or so.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
they're high.
so pretty much these storms are running into an atmosphere that's really asking for it to be wrung out, almost like a towel with filled with water, and then you sit there and you drench it out. That is literally what's happening here.
Hmm.
So when you have rainfall rates of over and anywhere between 2 to 6 inches an hour, as we've seen tonight, especially over portions of oh my goodness, was it Fritch earlier? They had a rainfall rate of up
Yeah, it
to
was
six
like up to
inches.
6 inches an hour. Even parts of Pantex had rain rates as high as 6 inches an hour.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean that's even extremely high for coastal flooding. So
yes, it's definitely abnormal no matter where you are, to actually have those kind of rainfall rates. But that says a lot about how moist the atmosphere is. And so when you have this kind of setup with these storms coming off, the Rockies, and then making their way into this kind of air mass, an unstable air mass at that, they're going to be charged up. That's where you get the severity from it, and then you get that heavy rainfall. So all of this is almost a perfect setup in terms of getting the heavy rain. Now this is nothing in comparison to the situation that happened over in Hill Country last week with the devastating floods. It's definitely not to that extent,
mhm.
but in terms of what we are used to here in the Panhandle area, I mean this is abnormal. Especially, I mean, we talked about it earlier. It's abnormal for anywhere to be anywhere between 2 to 6 inches of rain in an hour or so, the rainfall rates. But
Yeah, I mean, like there's a few similarities to this event versus the Hill Country, but there's a lot of disparities, and we're not expecting historic flooding from this event tonight. That's why we didn't go with the weather alert day. It's an active day for us, but I mean, we've only had a handful of severe storms that have been warned as this has moved through. I mean, it's definitely a very significant squall line, but we're not dealing with that really intense widespread 3, 4 inches of rain across the area, which can happen. So that's kind of why we led away from the weather alert day today. But this will probably transition into what we call that mesoscale convective vortex, which that's a portion of what occurred down there in the hill country. Was it was an MCC turned MCV, but it was fueled by that remnant moisture from Barry,
mm,
and their PWAT values were exceptionally high. They were in that 2.5 to 3 inch range, and so you've got a buku bunch of water to deal with. Our terrain, Paladuro Canyon, you could say is arguably similar to that hill country kind of terrain, real rugged. You got a lot of that water that funnels to a specific location very quickly. It's very tragic what happened down there. But our soil's a little bit different. They've got that clay soil that becomes almost impermeable when it gets enough water in it. It almost acts like a sealant. For the ponds down there, they usually put a clay liner on stock ponds down in central Texas to prevent them from losing water. And there's a lot of that clay down there in the hill country. And when you get that first 1 to 2 inches of rain, that soil swells up and it seals off, and so you just exacerbate that threat, seeing that 6 to 12 inches of rainfall. Whereas here, we've got a lot of sand mixed in. It's a loamy, more of a soil, so it soaks into the ground a little bit quicker here, and we don't get that ground to seal off like they do down there with that gumbo clay and whatnot. So there's some differences, but we can still get flooding here.
both in topography and the atmosphere
Hmm.
setup, with that devastating and tragic flooding event not too long ago in the Hill Country. But as we take a closer look in terms of our current radar, we still see these storms are starting to become more linear in nature, definitely indicating more of a straight line wind issue here, especially when we talk about the remaining severe storms that we have, mainly here posted, um, there in Armstrong, making their way through Carson County, as well as approaching Donley, as well as Gray County. You will have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 2 a.m., at least up until this time. Again, that's mainly due to this outflow boundary making its way out ahead of these line of storms. So if for some reason you are outdoors right now, I hope you are not. I hope you're in the safety of your homes. If you are outside currently, you may be feeling a change in temperature as that outflow boundary and the shelf cloud approaches your area. Um, you may feel a cool breeze, may pick up a little bit, might see a couple things blow around, especially if you have anything loose and hanging from your home um, as that outflow boundary moves through, but not far behind it will be the heavy downpours and rain that we were talking about, and ranging anywhere between 2 to 6 inches per hour in terms of rainfall rates. While I do believe some of the heaviest of the rainfall rates, especially that 6 inch amount an hour, has come down a little bit. I would not, count out any of these rains still doing, some heavy rainfall as well. And we still do have, as we take a look at our, well,
Yeah, well,
off to the side,
yeah,
I'm
it's
looking at,
actually it's warming up there. The cloud top heights, you can see they were really cold, had a lot of dark black showing up on the anvil. It's starting to turn more red, which actually is a bit warmer of a cloud top height. So that's probably a good sign for these falling below severe limits in the near future. I wouldn't be shocked if this is the last severe thunderstorm warning that Amarillo issues along this front and this line of storms, just given the downward trend that some of those updrafts have been dealing with or we've been seeing here over the last 15 to 20 minutes. Again, they're still strong and certainly could still maybe see some winds gusting close to 60 miles per hour. But it does look like that as those cloud tops continue to warm, your severe wind gust threat is going to get markedly lower. We're seeing some cloud top heights still pushing close to 40,000 feet, but you see those higher DBZ values that Josiah has highlighted there for you on a vertical slice. That 35 DBZ level is only at about 30, 31,000, and that's in some of those more intense pockets of rainfall. So at this point, it's probably going to be more of a flood prone issue than anything else. You may still see some winds gusting in that 50 to 55, 60 range here as this continues to trend downhill. I mean, looks like all that heavy rain is just like in the southern half of, or the bottom half of these storms. And so you don't get those really intense updrafts to loft a lot of that stuff up into the air where it has more time to evaporate and cool, and you get these wet microbursts or these really high winds from the downdraft of these storms. It just doesn't look like they've got as much oomph to them as they did 30 to 45 minutes ago.
yeah.
Now I will say we may want to jump up to the Dodge City radar and look and parts of southwest Kansas. They have a lot of storms starting to build up out there too. We'll see if this stuff continues to maybe push into portions of our region. Again, there was a few high resolution models that suggested that these storms may kind of clip the northeast panhandles. So we're talking about locations like Beaver, Oklahoma, Slapouts, maybe Perryton and Guyman, just really kind of depending on where these line out and start to track to the south. But they've got a really good line or convective line going up as well. I mean, and this really attaches to the stuff here in the Panhandle. I mean, that stuff tracks all the way up through Nebraska. So this is a really big time rain event for the South Central Plains, especially for the ag farmers and the producers out there in the portions of the western Kansas that may have otherwise been missing some of these recent rain events and parts of the North Panhandle as well.
Yeah. It,
I mean, it's almost like there's hardly anyone missing out on the rain tonight. Everyone's at least going to get a little bit, but
I think earlier, I mean, we were looking at just the orientation of the storms, and they were moving on that southeastern motion. And for the most part, they are, especially as we take a closer look there in Amarillo. But as you were talking about those storms a bit farther north, looks like just doing a clean sweep across the panhandle overall, and across much of the plains for that matter. Um, we've just had a huge, let me not say huge, but we've had some severe weather over the last couple of hours moving through much of the southern plains for that matter. But again, we still do have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. So it's definitely something to think about, especially if you are still outdoors. Again, hope you're not. But if you are, please seek shelter. I would recommend staying off the roads. As earlier, we did have some really strong winds. So if you are in a tractor trailer or a high profile vehicle, you could be dealing with some issues on the road, especially if those winds are moving at a perpendicular angle to your truck. So that can, or your trailer rather, that can cause some difficulty, especially if you're on the roads. Pair that with some of these very heavy rainfall rates, anywhere between 2 to 6 inches an hour. That can make it even difficult to see. So just overall, not the best, kind of conditions to be out in for sure. So if you have any late night plans, I'd pack them up and head inside for sure, especially if you still remain in this severe thunderstorm warning lasting until 2 a.m. And again, for the most part, those counties are going to be Carson, Gray, Donley, and Armstrong counties. So definitely something to think about, especially as that outflow boundary continues to surge to the south and east, farther and farther away from that actual line of rain. Now, how far out, you might be asking, is this line from the actual storms? Well, let's just pause it here. I mean, for one, I mean, right now it's
It's pretty
it's
good.
about 21 miles away out in front of the actual rain that will be falling. So first will be that gust of cool wind you might feel, change in wind direction, and then 20 miles to your north and west, depending on where you are, will likely be the heavy downfall,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
heavy downpours and rain.
yeah, I mean these storms are only moving at 35 miles an hour, so it's it's going to take you another half hour to get to the rain shield, back there behind the initial burst of wind. So you're probably going to sit there and scratch your head for a minute if you're still awake and up here tracking these storms with us. Where's the water that they promised us? It's coming. It's just it's lagged way behind the outflow boundary. That's another reason why these are probably losing some of their intensity too. When that outflow gets so far out in front of them, you lose a lot of that low level lift and it gets displaced away from where the current convection is at. I will make a mention that they did let the severe thunderstorm watch expire for the whole area. So right now we're just dealing with the flash flood watch, which you can see if you go ahead and click outside of that warning. They've gone ahead and extended it to Sunday morning at 1 a.m. So it's still technically in effect
Oh wow.
for another 24 hours. So they're covering all their bases. They just want to make sure that everyone's got the message that these are some really heavy rain making thunderstorms, producing some really high precipitation rates. If you want, we could take a look at the watches. You want to time some of that stuff out
Oh yeah.
with the computer model. So go over here, down here in your presentation tools, hit that back arrow,
Oh, yeah.
and then go to Studio Miscellaneous, and then scroll down to links to and double click on that. You won't have to do anything, but this is just going to
Wonderful.
take a mirror image
Ooh.
of this computer model. So we're going to go ahead and run you through the computer model. It's doing a pretty fantastic job at picking up on that complex of storms here in the Panhandle region. And so we'll go ahead and run it through. You can see by 2 a.m. still bowing out. We've got a handful of clustered thunderstorms out there in New Mexico. Some of that stuff still up in Kansas. By 4 a.m., excuse me, we start to see a lot of these storms fragment and fall apart. Still could see some pockets of some heavy rain out there. But as we move to the late morning hours, you can see that MCV starting to unfold, starting to spin up there in the northeast, and that's probably where you end up with some of your more moderate to heavy rain heading into Sunday, or rather Saturday afternoon and evening. Now moving into Sunday, you can see that rain starts to form out there in New Mexico, starts to fall apart as we head into the morning hours. Sunday afternoon, you can see we've got just a few isolated showers and thunderstorms pulsing up out there, but overall relatively quiet there heading into um, your Sunday night and your Monday. So this looks like it's going to be a bulk of our rainfall heading into the weekend. Any of that flooding concern for Saturday and Sunday, it's more than likely going to be displaced to our south and east, and we need to change some of these on here. But this is again now going to be in effect until Sunday at 1 a.m. It's Saturday there in the eastern New Mexico, but they've gone ahead and extended this a whole 24 hours for the Panhandles region. If we take a look at your outlook for today, You can see that they've gone ahead and updated this. This is to really factor in this afternoon's convection and not so much this morning's. But you see that we've got this, this big horseshoe effect where these storms that have put down the outflow boundary are really going to help allow that cold front to surge south. They kind of help just push all that cold air further and further south than model guidance would suggest. So you can see, we'll go ahead and cancel that. That's all today's threats. But you do have some of that marginal risk that kind of wraps around back into New Mexico, where the boundary is going to be stalled up next to the mountains, which is just a level 1 out of 5 for your threat index. So it's not a huge concern for us, but it is something to maybe think about for our Saturday. I do want to show you real quick before I'll let Josiah take back over. This was some video sent in earlier this evening from Mike Martinez over there in Quay County. This was just north of Logan, New Mexico. Really hard to make out if anything was on the ground. We'll go ahead and call this a very well-defined, very low wall cloud at the least. But it does look like there was some brief rotation, at least aloft, in that thunderstorm that was coming through the north side of Quay County early on before this stuff became a big linear complex. But you can see just a really low defined cloud base with that brief supercell that developed out there. Whether or not there was ground circulation, I think it's really hard to make out in this video if there was anything on the ground. But we do appreciate Mike sharing this video with us. Certainly helps us for ground truth observations. It helps kind of solidify maybe what we're seeing on the radar too. If and this was really short-lived in terms of the rotation. Looking at it, we got a picture of it, and he was like, "Hey, what do you guys think?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a really low cloud base." But we didn't have any rotation in the storm, at least not based off of radar. And then about 2 scans later, boom, there's your rotation. It was visible. And so we're like, yeah, I mean, that looks like that's probably a short-lived supercell that occurred out there. But I'll quit rambling and I'll let you take back over there.
No, we appreciate the we appreciate the wall cloud appreciation, or what could have been perceived as a tornado there, but again, not confirmed by any means. Just, a little eye candy
Yeah.
in terms of those who appreciate severe weather and all that comes with it, for sure. But
Yeah, nice rumble of thunder.
that's what that was?
That's thunder.
Wow.
They
Yeah,
said
so
we
sorry.
probably had some lightning strike the telecommunication tower or something right
Oh
next to the
man, I
building.
never get to see the good stuff. Well, that's not true. I saw a
You
beautiful
just went
walk.
outside and watched the shelf cloud. What are you talking
No, the shelf cloud was beautiful. I must say, again, as someone who's coming from New York, we don't really uh, get to see the beauty that comes with some of these storms. By the time they get to the east, sometimes they lose a bit of the dynamics, or we just don't have the same kind of lift that gives some of these storms their severity. But boy, did that shelf cloud really give me like chills. And then the cool wind came with it, so it definitely gave me chills later on. But
Yeah, he thought we were joking. He thought we were what sensationalizing the weather here. It's the best that you'll ever see. These storms, these supercells are some of the prettiest that you're ever going to get to take a picture of. Shelf clouds, out of this world, mothership supercells, tornadoes you can see from 40 miles away. Josiah probably thought we were joking with him, but
yeah, you never know until you take the leap. So
it may not be the Wild West out here, at least like it was way back when, but we do have some wild weather.
no, that's for sure. Definitely have some wildly wicked weather for sure. But I do want to turn our heads back over to Quay County. While we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, we do have this very strong storm that kind of came out of nowhere. Let's just track it over time. It came from Hardin County, outside of our viewing area, but it kind of survived the trip, and now it's over into Quay County. So you might have let your guard down there over in Quay County, especially if you were near Logan. That's where we're talking about that possible low wall cloud,
Yeah,
maybe
this is
tornado, but not confirmed by any means. But now we've got this strong storm there. You see some lightning there as it's making some convection, or it has some convection as it's moving south and east, definitely toward Porter. Definitely keep your eyes open and on the watch as that storm continues to venture south and east. Bard as well. It's moving in that general direction. but it's just something, on the back end of some of these storms, you can get a little flare up in terms of a couple of storms, and that's what we're seeing here. But even here in downtown Amarillo, while the bulk of the heaviest rain has shifted east, along with some of the gustiest of winds, we are still dealing with some light to moderate rainfall, especially here on the backside near Vega. We're starting to see all of that fill in there in Oldham and Potter County. We're starting to see those yellows and dark greens start filling in there on the backside. So while Amarillo right now downtown may have seen the heaviest rain move by, and now we're kind of in that in between phase of light to moderate rain, we've got even more rain on the way. And that's as to why we still have this aerial flood watch in effect that has now been extended until 1 a.m. Sunday morning Central Time. So definitely something to keep in mind, especially if you have any plans outside. Now you might be keeping your eye here on this yellow box that's indicating that severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect until Saturday at 2 a.m. You might be seeing it get smaller and smaller and smaller. That's the National Weather Service keeping in tune with the storm, just noticing the dynamics and where those strongest winds remain and where the worst parts of the storm are. What we're noticing here is that they shaved off portions of Carson and Potter County, but still, if you were anywhere in eastern Randall County, Armstrong County, and even portions of Donley County remain in this severe thunderstorm warning. And again, that's going to be as that outflow boundary continues to surge farther and farther and farther away from some of what is the main line of storms here. It's pushing over 20 to 21 miles or so in front of these storms. And as Corbin was describing earlier, as that line continues to surge further away from these storms, they lose that lower level lift that they need in order to pack a punch in terms of their severe nature. So as that continues, we're going to likely see these storms continue to slowly fizzle out as as they get further south and east. But again, we still have some of our counties here on the southeastern side. That's going to be parts of Swisher County and Briscoe. Um, we're gonna for Briscoe as well as Swisher County. I'd keep an eye out for some of these strong storms making their way. Tulia right now, starting to see a heavy downpour make its way through. It's not going to be severe warned, but you did probably just get some gusty winds, and you're also now starting to see the heavy rain make its way through. But let's take a look in terms of rain accumulation, right? We've been talking about a whole lot of rain falling over the last couple of hours, but let's take a look here and time this all out from as these storms made their way through. Now we see some pockets of heavier rain that have made their way through. Now, what does that mean? As we take a look here, where we currently have this
Flood advisory.
flood advisory, it's showing a flood watch, but flood advisory there. Let's take a look to see how much has actually fallen there. Um, it looks like 4.1 inches of rain have fallen there. Now, this is going to be radar estimated, so it's not a perfect science. Don't take this, take it with a grain of salt, because while it may be showing 4.1 inches of rain have fallen in that specific area, a bit further east of Boys Ranch, it may not be the exact case of that's how much rain actually made it to the ground, but we are seeing radar estimates of up to 4.1 inches there near in that area. And then up near Fritch, near Borger, you see anywhere between around 3 inches of rain, 3 to 3.5 inches of rain. Radar estimated again have fallen in that region, and that's where we again have that flash flood warning currently still in effect for that area, including parts of Borger, but mainly for Fritch, because earlier this evening, they did have rainfall rates up to 6 inches an hour, and that's a lot. That's not, I want to say not normal. It can happen, but that's how much moisture has been trapped in the atmosphere. And then when you have these storms roll over the same area and continue to wring out all that moisture, you end up with situations like this where you have anywhere between 3 to 4 inches of rain falling in these isolated areas. And that's when you get the concern for flash flooding, flood warnings, and all the alerts that can go out in regards to the amount of rain that has fallen in a small amount of area. Mm.
And as we take a look further, well, let me come off of
I mean,
this.
they're still even seeing some moderate to heavy rain and some pockets in that morning as well, still up there between Borger and Fritch.
Yeah, as we take a look here, let
I
me
mean,
get rid
most
of
of
that.
it's moderate rain, but there's still, I mean, there's pockets in there where you're probably still seeing rain rates over an inch an hour.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's fallen on what's probably already inundated with water, and it's going to continue to probably increase the effects that are being felt from some of that those low-lying areas, maybe having standing water in them or some running water heading down into Lake Meredith and places like that, down into the canyons that head down there underneath the dam towards Sanford and then back down eventually downstream. Again, it looks like that stuff's falling apart, but they're seeing. I mean, like they just had that storm just kind of pivot around Fritch, so they've had a lot of water there over the last 6 to 7 hours. Like Josiah pointed out earlier, they've probably had some widespread 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rain out there. I wouldn't be shocked if there's even some localized pockets in there or someone's got 4 inches plus in their rain gauge by the time they wake up in the morning if they haven't already had that 4 inches of rain. And they're still seeing some moderate rain even further west. Like if you zoom out, you can see that we still have all this stratiform rain right over portions of Moore and Potter County too. I mean, this isn't going to produce high rain rates. You're probably only going to see a rain rate anywhere from zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.5 inches per hour, but that still could be another half inch to an inch of rain that some of these places pick up on top of rain-soaked ground.
right. Now, if you're in Fritch or in Borger or just that general area just east of Lake Meredith where you are hoping that you're getting your bearings as the rain is looking like it's beginning to tamp down, as Corbin is saying, there's some more moderate rain. While it may not be to the effect of the upwards of 6 inches an hour rainfall rates that you had before, you still have some moderate rain on the way. So definitely take, you know, caution, especially since you do still have that flash flood warning in effect for portions of Hutchinson County, as well as Carson, in the Fritch and Borger area, including Sanford, Electric City, just that whole area. You still have been inundated with water as these rainfall rates have continued to pivot. Some of the heaviest rainfall rates that have been in the area have pivoted around your area for the last couple of minutes here, for the last at least half hour or so, if not longer. You've had some of the heaviest bands of rain circulate your area, and you have even more moderate to, I would say, moderate rain on the way to the west. So definitely something to look out for over the next couple of hours as this rain continues to dissect the panhandle over the next couple of hours. But as Corbin was talking about earlier, to our north for our Oklahoma panhandle region, we have some of those stronger storms to our north. As we take a closer look here near Beaver and Beaver County, uh, you had a storm there flare up. You still have it there near Beaver, Forgan, and Mocaine there, and you see some of those reds and even purples indicating some very heavy rainfall rates possible going on. You even see some lightning strikes there showing some convection. So this storm is definitely trying to get its act together in bearings before it pivots out over into Kansas, but not before, really bringing some heavy rain to Beaver County overall right now over the next couple of minutes or so before it pivots out into Kansas. But if you are in the region, if you are, in this area, just take a precaution because you do have some heavier rain making its way through it. I know you probably haven't experienced some of the heaviest rain tonight as the storm has been a bit further east, but we are starting to see a couple of cells here begin to flare up. So definitely keep an eye out as you might hear some heavy rain and maybe even a few cracks of thunder in your area for sure.
It looks like we've actually watched our last severe thunderstorm warning expire early. So, well, we'll probably go ahead and wrap up your live here. We do appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, we still have that concern for some heavy rain and some flooding. Again, most people are going to be asleep tonight, so just keep that in mind. If you're in a floodplain, you may want to keep that phone close by. You may want to make sure that you're getting those warnings. Make sure that the EAS alerts are turned on your phone. I know that it can get annoying after a while if you're getting warning after warning after warning, but they're there to inform you and to make sure that you are aware of situations around you. Again, we're not going to be to the degree of the hill country from last week, but there's still going to be some pockets here in the Panhandle that still pick up 1 to 4 inches of rain overnight tonight if you haven't already seen most of that come through. So just keep that in mind. I mean, if you guys have seen a 4 inch rain event and you've had flooding in your area, I wouldn't take that off the table tonight. So just something to certainly think about. But we are going to end your live here since all of this stuff is below severe limits. We'll continue to keep you up to date should anything change here through the rest of tonight.